Okay, YouTube, I'm going to do a little video here. I'm going to do a little video on kind of what I do and how my brain functions. And, yeah, what I do in my life. A little life story, might I say. And, I'll tell you that I've been working on cars since I was a kid. And I buy and sell, trade, do whatever. Well, I want to give a little background on a couple projects I did, or I have going on. A while back, I had gotten into contact with a guy on Facebook that had a Durango for sale. Well, I wasn't really a Dodge fan. I'm a Ford guy. I like my Fords. I'd work on a lot of Fords. But this guy had a Durango, had a blowed Hemi in it. And he had trouble selling it because these Durangos are known for their Hemis of being bad all the time. So nobody wants them. Nobody wants to fix them. So he gave me a price and said, hey, if you want this thing, come get it. He says, I'm selling it below scrap price. He says, I just want to get rid of it. So I went and looked at it, and here to come find out, it was pretty much a rust-free Durango. And them are hard to come by here in Ohio. So he gave me a price. I bought it, drug it home, and had blowed heavy, and it was tied up. So I thought, well, okay, I'll hunt for a motor for it. Well, in my little adventures looking for a motor for it, junkyards in the area want $1,500 for a motor, one with 150 to 200,000 miles on it. You know, on up to $3,000 people want them for with low mileage on them. I said, well, I guess I'm not going to go that route. So, in the meantime, I didn't work on it. I just put it aside and worked on some, did other projects I had. And then this one came up. This one right here, I found in Pennsylvania. It was almost a little over 4 hours for me, 4-hour drive from where I'm at. It was almost to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. So I messaged the person, talked to him about it, said, yeah, it ran good. And they put a fuel pump in it a while back, and it quit running again. So they just didn't want to mess with it anymore. They're in Pennsylvania. It needs to be inspected. And with lights on that were on in it, they didn't want to mess it with it anymore. So the lady I talked to said it had what the issues were with it, and I said, did it run good? Is the motor good in it? She says, yes. She says the motor ran perfect. It drove good. So I thought, well, I'll go there and pick it up. So that's what I did. I went clear to Pennsylvania, a little over 4-hour drive, and picked it up. I tried to start it before I took it, but I couldn't get it to start because it's got a big pendulum intake air box on it. You couldn't get ether down to the throttle body on it. So I drug it home, had it on the trailer. Next day, pulled the air box off of it, sprayed some ether down through the intake, down through the throttle body, and it fired right up. So I thought, well, this is great. Find out what the issue is with it. Well, the fuel pump wasn't working. So that's what I checked out. I checked the fuses, the relay and the fuse, and here come find out the fuse had corroded inside the fuse box, and the leg had broken off and was not making contact anymore. Put a fuse in it, fired right up. So I took it out for a drive, drove it around, and it ran great, ran perfect, shifted good, transmission shifted good, had 282,000 miles on it. And this is the time I was looking for. I was trying to build my other Durango, rust-free, that I was going to take across country. I was going to drive across country. Well, I went ahead. I changed the oil in this thing. The tires were shot on it. So I went ahead and put new tires on it. And I ended up driving this thing from Ohio up into Upper BC, Canada. I took Highway 16 up in Canada, which is known as the Yellowhead Highway in Canada, clear to where it ends. It ends at the Pacific Ocean in Prince Rupert. That's how far I drove it. Then from there, I went from there. I traveled down through Washington State, Oregon, California, Nevada, and then got down into Arizona. I went to the Grand Canyon. I got on I-40. I traveled down Route 66 and all the way down to Miami, Florida in this Durango with well over 285,000 miles on it when I flipped it going up into Canada. 285,000. And I've drove it since. And while I was down in Florida, I'll show you another thing I bought. This thing runs great too. I bought that piece over there. That's a 2005 Explorer. It's wrecked in the front end, but there's absolutely no rust on it. I drug it home with my Durango. It's the first time I towed anything with my Durango. Well, now my Durango is a dedicated tow pig. As you can see, I've got my jet skis behind it right now. And that's what I do with it. I got a tandem axle trailer I pull cars with, everything. Well, okay, now another story to keep on with my Durango theme. I ended up having a brain spasm, and I thought, well, what am I going to do with this other Durango? I thought about it. Well, I'm going to put it's already built with a 5.7 Hemi in them. That's what this one has. This one's got the 5.7 Hemi. Runs strong, runs good. And I really love it. I mean, it got great gas mileage my whole trip. It got excellent gas mileage for, being a big vehicle. It's all-wheel drive. I mean, I went through mud in New Mexico. I was going through 4-foot deep snow up in northern BC, Canada. I went through a blizzard in upstate California while I was going through there. So it handled any terrain I put it through. So I thought, well, what am I going to do with this other Durango? So I went ahead and decided I'm going to put either a 6.1 or a 6.4 Hemi in the other Durango. It's rust free, so I'm going to toy with it. So I thought to myself, well, now I've got an extra transmission. Because if I go putting a 6.1 or 6.4 in that Durango, I'm going to have to build a transmission for it. So I thought, well, the transmission, it's good. So that's when I went and go ahead and thought, well, I'm going to go look for another Durango that needs a transmission. This one come along. This one wasn't too far from me. So that's what I did with this. I bought it and I put a transmission in it. Well, while I was putting the transmission in it, when I took the starter off of it, I broke the tab off for the positive cable on the starter. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to get a new starter for it. Well, another story. While putting the transmission in, I got it all hooked up, and I thought, well, I'm going to go get a used starter for it. So I went to a local junkyard, got a starter, put it in, and when I got everything hooked up, this was this last November when I was doing this job, putting this transmission in it. In the meantime, I had other things I was doing. I had vehicles in and out, trying to get things done. Had this one tore down, had other jobs I needed to do. I put the starter in this, went to start it up. I had nothing. All the lights on the dash come on, but I had no crank, and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, what the heck is going on here? So I got mad, and I just shoved it out the door. I didn't have time for it. I just didn't want to mess with it. I didn't know what I did. I thought maybe something's off in the transmission, a sensor or something. Something electronically wasn't right with it. So I decided to go ahead and shove it out the door and park it and do my other work I had. Well, I just recently put it back in the garage, in the shop, to find out what was wrong. Here, come find out. I'll show you. I bought this starter. It's in the back here. Here's the starter I took off. See, I broke the nipple off here for the bolt for the positive. Well, this starter's no good. This is your positive from your battery, and then this is your start it comes hot here when you turn the key on to start it. Well, I had power there, but nothing coming out of the starter. It wasn't engaging, nothing. It didn't have a click or nothing. Usually, when you have a bad starter, it clicks or does something. This thing didn't do a thing. So I thought, well, okay, since I got power down there, it's got to be a starter. So I went and picked up another starter here this last week. I did it Friday. This is Sunday. Friday, I went and picked up another starter for it, put it in. Guess what? I had power and it started up. And by the way, here's the motor. That's the motor that I pulled out of that jet ski. That's a 1100 cal, same as what that one is. But that's a 3-seater. And this is the motor out of it, and I'll have more about it later, why I tore it apart. But anyways, get back to my starter here. Yep, here's the transfer case out of my other Durango, my rust-free Durango. That's the transfer case out of it, and right there's the drive shafts out of it. So that's that. So now, guess what? Yesterday, Friday night, I pulled it out of the shop. It ran, and it got laid out, and it was low on fuel. So I thought, well, I'll wait till Saturday, drive down to the gas station, put gas in it, and drive around. And guess what? This thing runs, shifts, perfect. I got me another vehicle. I'll show you. It fires right up. Runs really good. So I've got another successful build. It's not in too bad a shape. I bought it right. I put a transmission in it that I had from my other Durango. And yeah, I've got me another good Durango. So what I'm going to end up doing is, I'll tell you how my brain works. Get this thing. And by the way, when I got this thing, they had the window all taped up in this thing. I'll show you what I found in it real quick. I had to pull the inside out, and here is the window tracking motor out of it. Look at this thing. Talk about a messed up deal. I have no clue, an idea of how that happened. No idea. That got wrapped around somehow. These are glued to the glass. This piece here is glued to the glass. And that's foobar. That's no good. So I had to buy a new assembly. So I got it. I got to put it in yet. When I get that done. So, what I paid for this Durango and the transmission I have for it, I've put, I went through and put new seal in the transmission, new fluid, everything. Shifts out good. I drove it around. I put, I don't know how many miles on it yesterday. About 20 miles on it yesterday, I think it was. And yeah, I've got a moneymaker here. So, the money I make off of this, I'll put in another vehicle. However much I make off of this deal here, I'll turn and flip on another vehicle, or I will go ahead and buy the motor I want from my other Durango and put it together. I'm looking in buying a 6.4 Hemi for it. So I'm gonna locate one, see how much it costs me. Whatever I get out of this one, I'll put the money towards it or another vehicle. So that's what I do. A little bit of my brain function and what I do for a living. So I got 3 of these Durangos. These 2, the funny thing of it is, that one right there was built, it's a build date of April of 05, and this one was built in July of 05. So there's only a 3 months difference between these 2 right here. So I've got to finish this up. I gave this thing a bath yesterday, cleaned it all up. It was filthy. It was sitting underneath the red maple tree here, so it was filthy dirty. So I gave it a bath yesterday after I got done riding my yellow jet ski for the first time. I got video of it. And that's what I do. So like and subscribe. Give me some comments of what you think I do. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, I've got ribs cooking right now. Wish you could smell the air. I smell them cooking right now. I got a video of it coming up. So yeah, this Sunday afternoon. And that's what's going on. That's what I do for a living. Fix vehicles. Buy and sell. So thank you for watching, and get back at you later with another show. Thanks.